Hello everyone and welcome to Raquel Teaches Web Development. My name is Raquel and today's tutorial is going to be all about HTML IDs and classes. All right, so let's go ahead and switch to the browser. All right, it's blank right now because as we can see when I switch to my code editor, there's really no content in the page. So before I start typing any code, I want to explain what HTML IDs and classes are. So HTML IDs and classes are a way to assign a label to HTML elements. And the reason that we would want to assign labels to these elements is because we can then use them to do other things. For example, we can use them for creating links. We can use them for applying CSS styles, and we can also use them to assign JavaScript functionality. All right. And so in this tutorial, I'm not going to be showing you the function, those different things, those different ways of adding that functionality. What I'm just going to show you today very briefly is how to assign IDs and classes. All right. And then in the following tutorials in this HTML playlist, CSS playlist I'm going to create and other ones for JavaScript, you're going to see the different ways that we can use the IDs and classes to target those elements and do things with them. All right. So for right now, I'm just going to show you how to apply them. All right, so the first thing I'm going to show you is how to apply an ID and an ID. And you'll also see that applying a class is exactly the same. So in the code editor here, we see I don't have any content added in here. So what I'm going to do is just go ahead and add a paragraph. Okay, so I'm going to add a paragraph here, and I'm going to add some lorem ipsum text there. One of the things I love about Visual Studio Code. Okay, so I have a paragraph in here with some filler text, right? And so if I want to assign an ID to this paragraph element, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be adding that by inserting it within the opening part of this tag, right? So in this first P right here, after the P, but before that closing bracket, I'm going to add a space, and then I'm just simply going to type the word ID, an equal sign, and a set of quotation marks. Okay, if you're in Visual Studio Code, it'll insert the two quotation marks for you. And then within those quotation marks is where I can add the ID name that I want to assign. So if I want to label this as, I don't know, content, right? That's all I have to do. Just type the word content between those quotation marks and I'm done. All right. If I want to add another element and assign it to a class, it's done exactly the same way. So let's say, for example, in this document that I'm going to insert an image, right? So I can insert an image and I'm going to go into my images folder, coffee raisin bread. Okay. So I've inserted this image, right? So I can apply an ID to this in the same, I'm sorry, I can apply a class name to this in the same exact way. I'm just gonna, again, at the beginning of the tag, place a space after the tag name, and I'm just simply gonna type the word class, an equal sign, and a set of double quotation marks. And then the same thing within those double quotes, I'm going to assign the name of the class that I want to use, right? So I could do something like, extra info. That's a class name. And that's it. Always remember to save your changes. Now, one of the things to keep in mind is that there are some important differences between ID names and class names, right? So what you want to keep in mind is that when it comes to ID names, right, ID names need to be unique, meaning that you can only use an ID name once in an HTML document. Whereas class names don't have that limitation. So class names can be assigned to multiple elements. They can be used more than once. And so this is useful if you want to have a certain set of elements within a group that you then want to do something with that group all at the same time, meaning you may want to apply a certain CSS style to them. You may want a certain function to run when they're hovered over or clicked on with JavaScript, etc. And so those are two things to keep in mind. IDs must be unique, all right? An ID must be unique, whereas a class name does not have to be unique. You can use the same class name over and over for multiple elements. And so let me just show you an example of that. So, and it doesn't have to be the same type of element. So for example, I could go ahead and create another paragraph here, right? And let's give that some filler text as well. I can also assign that to the class of extra info. Okay. And I'm going to also switch over to the browser so you can see that just assigning an ID or a class name to content on your page doesn't do anything. Okay, so when we switch to the browser and we refresh that, all we're going to see is text and an image and more text. And that's it. Nothing special is going on because we haven't decided to do anything with those labels that we just assigned to those elements. Okay, so that is how assigning an ID or a class in HTML works. You just simply insert it on the element you want it on, assign the name, make sure if you're using ID it's unique. If it's a class, be aware that you can use it on multiple elements. Okay, and so that's all there is to it. So for this tutorial, I am going to be providing the code for this if you need it on my blog, and so that link is going to be included in the description for this video. If you liked this video, please go ahead and hit the like button. And if you know anyone that would find this video useful, please go ahead and use the share button to share this video with them. If you'd like to be notified of future videos that I upload to the channel, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. It's free. So thanks again for taking time out of your day to check out this video. Enjoy the rest of your day, and God bless.